나모 아미다부츠, 나모 아미다부츠, 나모 아미다부츠. 나만다, 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 나만다. Welcome. With palms pressed together, please join me in opening meditation. Our former bishop, Socho Koshi Nogui, taught, "My life is not only my life. My life is made up of the countless sacrifices, kindness, and caring of others. Thus, let us strive to hear the Dharma and live with clarity, not taking for granted all who bring richness and meaning to our lives. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 namanda." Next, please join me in reciting the three treasures found on page 3 of our Purple Service Book. Three treasures. Fortunate is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Rare is it to encounter the teachings of the Buddha. Now we hear it. If we do not seek the truth of the Dharma in this life, in what life shall we find it? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken within us our highest aspiration. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the Dharma and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in a life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriad of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful teaching. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 namanda. Please join us for the first gatha, Amida's Paradise.
Most days routinely, without much thought that we will never live this day again in all eternity. Each wondrous day is special in sunshine or in rain. In living will know pleasure, fulfillment, loss, and pain. This is the truth of constant change. We'll live throughout our lives. With Dharma eyes, we'll see each day in Amida's paradise.
Next, please join us in the chanting of Jusei Ge, found on page 23 of our Purple Service Book.
Thank you. 4 Apr21 Sensei.
子成仏道妙所長寺法空教未所門政府上昇学利欲人少年上映修本業四具無常道一生天人師人力遠来公不生無才道少女三苦名交際集約難回避知恵言名詞根門案閉塞小悪道通達全宗門高僧上満足異様老実法日月修十期天候恩普賢一周解放像公正功徳法上王大集中説法施施空空有一切物具足修徳本元年出上満徳意三界王如仏無下知通達未不詳願学営利投資最小損志願や国家大仙王感動国小天人東内妙慶アマンダブアマンダブアマンダブアマンダブアマンダブアマンダブ願にしく読平等性際道本菩提心往生安楽ナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダ。
Next, please join me in reciting the Golden Chain, found on page 5 of our purple service book. Golden Chain. I
am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 namanda. With palms pressed together, please join me in Gassho. The Dalai Lama, our friend and ambassador of the Dharma, visited Sacramento in 2016, meeting with State Assembly chaplains Reverend Bob and Reverend Patty Oshta. He shared these words: "Every day, think as you wake up. Today, I am fortunate to be alive. I have a precious human life. I am not going to waste it. I am going to use all my energies to develop myself, to extend my heart out to others, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. I am going to have kind thoughts towards others. I am not going to get angry or think badly about others. I am going to benefit others as much as I can. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 namanda." Good morning. On behalf of Team Betsuin, thank you for joining us on this first Sunday of April. Do you find yourself, like me, missing a second season without Betsuin Basketball March Madness? Our snack bars show you weenies over rice, Spam musubi, and Reiko's chili. For me, this second year has been difficult, and I find myself missing Cliff Adams' skill, marshaling the enthusiasm of our Dharma school in producing the Hanamatsuri play. At the same time, I take heart in that mask use is up. COVID incidence is down. And because effective vaccine is being made more and more available, I look forward to meeting together live rather than on Zoom. Our temple leadership remains active as ever. Reverend Matt continues to teach the educational series, The Letters of Shinran Shonin. Reverend Tim continues to look after our sister temple in Marysville. And Reverend Patty, having retired at the end of December from being our state assembly chaplain, continues to develop meaningful monthly medical series presentations. So please check our Betsuin website for class times and Zoom dates. Today, we are 4 days from Hanamatsuri, when we celebrate the birthday of the historical Shakyamuni Buddha, bringing to mind the Dalai Lama's aspiration that we live each day with deep appreciation, expending our hearts to others and not wasting a moment of this precious life. Without doubt, Dalai Lama's inspiration is based on the teachings of the Buddha, the Enlightened One, whom we recognize on Hanamatsuri. But then we should ask, what was the nature of the Buddha's enlightenment? And what is the essence that guides us to true happiness? To help understand these questions, I would like to share a famous story from the Buddha's childhood. According to legend, Prince Siddhartha Gautama, who would become the Shakyamuni Buddha, was kind to people, animals, and other living things. He was also a brave horseman who won many prizes in the kingdom. Because the prince had everything one could desire, he did not have to suffer hardship or difficulty. However, it is said that he always thought of the countless people and living things who helped provide the life of luxury that he so much enjoyed. Deep within Siddhartha's gratitude was also the wish to help them all in return. Deep gratitude, you see, grows from a caring heart. One day, the young Prince Siddhartha was walking in the woods with his cousin Devadatta, who had brought along a bow and arrows. Suddenly, Devadatta spotted a swan flying by, and he shot at it. His arrow brought down the swan, and both boys ran toward the bird. As Siddhartha could run faster than Devadatta, he reached the swan's injured body first and found to his surprise that it was still alive. Gently pulling the arrow from its wing, he bathed the puncture with nectar from a medicinal plant. The wound stopped bleeding, and with a gentle hand, Siddhartha comforted the frightened swan. When Devadatta came to claim the swan, Prince Siddhartha refused to give it to him. Devadatta became angry to see his cousin keeping the swan away from him. "Give me my bird. I shot it down," shouted Devadatta. "No, I will not give it to you," replied the prince. "If you had killed it, it might have been yours. But now, since it is only wounded and still alive, it belongs to me." Devadatta still did not agree, and he became enraged. Then Siddhartha suggested, "Let us go to the court of the sage and ask him who owns the swan." Devadatta agreed, so off they went to the court of the sage to tell them of their quarrel. The wise sage, hearing both boys' version of the story, took a deep breath. He paused, and then he spoke. "A life certainly must belong to he who tries to save it. A life cannot belong to one who is only trying to destroy it. The wounded swan, by right, belongs to Siddhartha." This famous story of the boy who would become the Buddha is no less meaningful today than it was over 2,500 years ago. Why? Because today, more than ever, we see examples embodied in the Devadatta nature of humankind. Around us, special interests exploit division instead of cultivating unity. The global pandemic could have united citizens of the world to come together in common cause, instead of being used as a wedge to drive us further apart. Ignorantly, civic leadership promotes cancel culture, the infringement on free speech, the discretionary reporting of news, or the selective enforcement of law, which influence our perceptions of reality. Our neglectful treatment of mental illness and drug addiction has led thousands to dwell in filth on the streets. Civic leaders emphasize catchphrases like equity rather than reinforcing equality, pushing bias and discrimination instead of promoting fairness and equal treatment. When we critically examine ourselves and our actions, we view the truth of our lives and the behavior of humankind. When we gaze deeply into the mirror that we call Dharma, we see that our existence, our nature, and the makeup of our character is in many ways a combination of the two cousins, Siddhartha and Devadatta. Outwardly, I strive to be kind and gentle as Siddhartha, caring deeply and wanting to benefit others. But inwardly, as though I were part Devadatta, I recognize my self-centered nature that is always wanting to get in my way. Though today we are on Zoom, I sense that there are some fellow Board of Trustee members, perhaps a doctor or nurse, and maybe my wife Cheryl, nodding heads in agreement, but I digress. As the Buddha taught, and the Dalai Lama reminds us, we are fortunate to be alive because of the sacrifices of countless other lives, plants and animals. So let us not waste our precious opportunity to live this human life. Instead, we should live with appreciation, striving to pay it forward every day with Dharma eyes open, because then we cannot help but live a life of gratitude. Our karmic circumstances are innumerable. Some karma we create. Other karmic events we have no control over whatsoever, like where we are born, our parents, our race, gender, or orientation. These too are part of the nature of karma. Said another way, we have this priceless, interdependent life where everything that we do affects everything around us, where nothing in our lives occurs in a vacuum. So let us use our energies to develop ourselves and extend our hearts to others, and strive to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of others. Let us not waste our lives. And at the same time, in living with the awareness that all things are impermanent, that nothing stays the same forever, that life is constantly changing, we can see that it is in how we respond to change that matters most. It is how we treat one another as humankind that makes the difference. In other words, a meaningful life is based on what we choose and what we do. Our thoughts, speech, and actions have consequences, so we best use each wisely. This is the heart of the Eightfold Path and of karma. This is the essence of the Buddha's enlightenment. This is the pathway to true happiness. In closing, with palms pressed together, please join me in Gassho. Our former bishop, Socho Koshi no Gui, taught, "My life is not only my life. My life is made up of the countless sacrifices, kindness, and caring of others. Thus, let us strive to hear the Dharma and live with clarity, not taking for granted all who bring richness and meaning to our lives. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, namanda, namanda." Next, we'll have the closing Gatha farewell.
Dharma school is over for another day. Let us gather around the shrine, bow our heads and say, "Thank you, teacher, for your help. Thank you, everyone. Buddha's love will keep us safe till our work is done. So we'll meet again next week. Won't you take good care? Let us try to do what's right, always kind and fair. We shall spread the happiness
I'd like to thank Ellie Mizushima for that wonderful vocal and Reverend Patty Oshita for the wonderful piano accompaniment. In closing, with palms pressed together, please join me in Gassho. Just as rain falls on all vegetation, so Buddha's compassion extends equally to all people. But just as different plants receive particular benefits from the same rain, so people of different nature and circumstance are cared for by different methods. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 namanda. In closing, we'd like to show the announcements for activity here at the church. These are prepared by our Board of Trustee member, Kelly Gartman. Thank you.